I am learning hard.
Okay, so now we're going to be looking at addition of fractions. Now you can add fractions that have the same denominators or add fractions that have different denominators. And I'm going to show you how to do both. Have a fraction like 2 over 5 plus 1 over 5. Now these two fractions have the exact same denominator. So what you do is you just add the top and duplicate the denominator. That's it. So 2 plus 1 is 3 over, the denominator is 5. It doesn't change, 5. So 2 over 5 plus 1 over 5 is the same thing as is equal to 3 over 5. 2 over 7 plus 3 over 7. The exact same thing. You add the top, duplicate the bottom. That's all. 2 plus 3 is 5 over 7. And that's how you add fractions with the same denominator. So now we're going to be adding fractions that have different denominators. So I have two fractions, for example. I have 2 over 5 plus 1 over 4. Now, these two fractions have different denominators. So how am I supposed to do this addition? Now, that's what I'm about to show you. The first thing that you need to do is you need to find a common denominator. So a common denominator. And the way to find a common denominator is to find the lowest common multiple of 5 and 4. That would give you the common denominator. So let's do our LCM. Now, if you're struggling with LCM or you're not sure how to do your LCM, look for my previous video where I explain in details how to do LCM and how to do it in different methods. Today, we're just going to be using the listing method to do our LCM. Now, I have 5 and I have 4. To do my LCM, I must find what is the lowest number aside from 1. What is the lowest number that I can use to divide either 5 over or 4 aside from 1? That's 2. 2 cannot divide 5 without a remainder, so I bring down my 5. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now I can use 2 again. So 2 divided by 5 is going to leave us with a remainder, so leave 5 as it is. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now I have 1 here and I have 5 here. The next number I'm going to use is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. This doesn't matter. We're done with this side anyway, so that's 1. Now my LCM is going to be 2 times 2 times 5. 2 times 2 is 4 times 5 is 20. So my lowest common multiple of 5 and 4 is 20. So now we found our common denominator. We've done the very first step. Now the next part is very easy. We need to find what numbers are going to be on top for us to do this addition correctly. Now we're going to say, how many times can 5 go in 20 or 20 divided by 5? That's 4, right? 5 will go in 24 times. Now 20 divided by 5 is 4. That number times your numerator, 4 times 2 is 8. Plus, how many times will 4 go in 20? 4 is going to go in 25 times. Now, you can't just write 5. You have to say 5 times your numerator. The numerator in this case is 1, but sometimes it's not 1. Sometimes it's 2. Sometimes it's 3. So you must never forget to do your multiplication after your division. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. So I end up with 8 plus 5 over 20. 8 plus 5 is 13 over 20. So 2 over 5 plus 1 over 4 is equal to 13 over 20. Now we're going to try it with 2 other fractions with different denominators. So let's say 2 over 7 plus 1 over 4. So we have 2 numbers. So remember what I told you. The first thing that you do is you find a common denominator. And how do you find your common denominator? By finding the LCM of 7 and 4. So I have 7 and I have 4. I'm using my listing method. What's the lowest number that can divide these two? Either of these 2 numbers aside from 1. And that's 2. So 2. 7 cannot be divided by 2 without a remainder. So we leave our 7 as it is. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then I use 2 again. 7 cannot be divided by 2 without a remainder. We still leave it as it is. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I have 7 and I have 1. There's no number that can divide 7 aside from 1 and 7. So the number we're going to be using now is 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. This we're already done, so we just bring it down. So my LCM is going to be 2 times 2 times 7. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. Now this is my common denominator. So we're going to put that and write 28. So we're done with the first step. Now, next thing that we want to do is say, how many times can 7 go in 28, or 28 divided by 7? 28 divided by 7 is 4. Now, be careful. Don't write 4 there. You must multiply that number by the numerator. Now, 4 times 2 is 8. Plus, how many times will 4 go in 28, or 28 divided by 4? That's 7. 7 times 1 is 7. So I have 8 plus 7 over 28. 8 plus 7 is 15 over 28. So my fraction 2 over 7 plus 1 over 4 is equal to 15 over 28. That's it. So now we're going to be trying subtraction of fractions. It's exactly the same way we do addition, but let's try a question. So I have 2 over 5 minus 1 over 3. Now, the first thing that we have to do is to find a common denominator. And can you remember how to find the common denominator? Exactly. You have to use your LCM method. So let's find the LCM of 5 and 3. So I'm going to use my listing method, 5 and 3, and I'm going to find the LCM. Now, what's the lowest number that can divide either 5 or 3 without a remainder, aside from 1, and that is 3. 5 cannot be divided by 3 without a remainder, so we leave 5 as it is. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we're done with this side. Now, what number can divide 5 aside from 1 is 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. We're already done with this side, so we bring it down. So my LCM is going to be 3 times 5, which is equal to 15. So my common denominator, which is my LCM of 5 and 3, is 15. Now, 5 will go in 15 3 times, right? 3 times 2 is 6. Remember when you divide 15 by 5, you must multiply that answer by your numerator. So that's why we did 15 divided by 5, which is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Then our sign, which is subtraction. Then we do the exact same thing for this side. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. So what I have here is 6 minus 5 over 15, which is equal to 1 over 15. So my fraction 2 over 5 minus 1 over 3 is equal to 1 over 15. That's it. Now let's look at multiplication of fractions. So for example, you're given two fractions and you're asked to multiply 3 over 4 by, say, 1 over 2. How do you go about doing that? That's what I'm about to show you. So take, for example, the fraction I mentioned before, 3 over 4 times 1 over 2. Now with the fractions, what you do is, before you multiply fractions, I always like to advise that you reduce the fraction before you multiply. You reduce or you simplify the fraction. Now, if you're struggling with fraction simplification, I have a previous video where I talked in detail how to reduce fractions. Now, 3 over 4 times 1 over 2, we try to reduce this fraction. Now, if there is no way to reduce this fraction, what you do is you multiply the top and you multiply the bottom. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 2 is 8. So that's the answer to this question. Now, I'll give you two fractions where we can reduce before we multiply. I have 2 over 5 times 15 over 20, for example. Now, reducing a fraction means that I find a number that can divide a numerator and can also divide a denominator. So if I divide my numerator by 2, I must divide my numerator by the exact same number. Now, the beautiful thing about multiplication of fractions is if there is a number that can divide this numerator and this denominator, it's absolutely cool. So you don't have to divide the same numerator and denominator by the same number. So you can divide this and this, you can divide this and this by the same number. So that's the beautiful thing about multiplication. So now let's reduce these fractions. 2 will go here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So we reduce that fraction, right? This was 2, it's now 1. This was 20, it's now 10. But we're not done. There's still a way to divide a top number. There's still a number that can divide one of the numbers on top, that's the numerator, and also divide one of the denominators. and that's 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now let's look at it. So I have 1, 3, 5, 2. There is absolutely no number aside from 1 that can divide both the top and the bottom of this fraction. So now we multiply. 1 times 3 is 3 over 5 times 2 is 10. So 2 over 5 times 15 over 20 is 3 over 10. Okay, so let's look at another fraction. 3 over 5 times 10 over 12. Remember what I said. Try to reduce the fraction before you multiply. What it does is it helps you deal with smaller numbers and it's easier. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. But we're not done. Look at 10, look at 5. We can still divide both numbers by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. We have 2 and we have 4. We can still reduce. Reduce it to the simplest form before you multiply. It is easier. Trust me. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the answer to this question is 1 over 2. Now let me show you what will happen if you do not simplify your fractions before multiplying. So we're going to use the exact same fraction. 3 over 5 times 10 over 12. Now let's say we went ahead to multiply first and we didn't reduce. So this is what I'm going to have. I'm going to have 30 times 10 is going to give me 30 over 5 times 12 is 60. So you have a fraction. Your answer is 30 over 60. You can't give your fraction like this. You have to simplify it. So now you have the task of reducing this to its lowest term. So you basically have to keep reducing till you can no longer reduce. And if you're not very good with your multiplication table, you're going to start dividing by 2. 13 divided by 2 is 15. 60 divided by 2. So imagine how many divisions you're going to have to do to get 30 over 60 to its simplest form. However, if you had just reduced before you multiplied, you would have gotten your answer faster. But let's reduce this fraction so that we see if we arrive at the same answer, 1 over 2. Now, 30, let's divide by 10. We can divide both numbers by 10. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 60 divided by 10 is 6. I have 3 and 6. We can still reduce. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. We still arrived at 1 over 2, but we took a longer route. So either works, but I always advise reduce, then multiply. It's easier.
I am learning with I am learning Hub.